What have you got?
This is called The Sound of Breaking Glass.
All right, okay.
So, smirks my reflection, stepping out of the mirror, glad to be its own man. Oh, it was getting mighty crowded. It shook its curly locks. Too many faces in there. I gazed at the Nagant it now levelled at me, a rather hefty gun for a reflection. How come I'm Irish and my reflection is Russian? Zatkines, it yelled. I have been working undercover for 64 years. It was hell being your reflection. So, comrade, move it. The muzzle in my ear had me convinced. I stepped into the mirror, its glass freezing me into the world of reflections. It was like being buried under ice, strange to be on the other side. My reflection threw a hearty "Na prachanya" over its shoulder, left in my Lamborghini Reventon. I could see the reflection of my Amazon Echo Dot 4th generation smart speaker with Alexa. Alexa, play Nick Lowe, I commanded it. I love the sound of breaking glass. I was shattered. Thanks, Nick. Thanks, Alexia. Now to hunt down my traitor reflection, wherever it may have gotten to. Oh, I love the sound of breaking glass. I sang loudly as my Bugatti Veyron EB 16.4 hurtled through the night. Thank you.
And that's an autobiographical.
Yes,
tale.
yes.
Yeah,
There
I
was
thought
a-
it was, yeah.
there was
Happened yesterday.
There was a Charles Bronson film where, I forget the actor who played, there was a Russian spy, and all he had to do for sleeper agents was to ring them up and say, "The woods are lovely, dark and deep." And then Phil would just go like this, and he'd go out, get into a truck with a bomb and blow up an army base. And that's how he used to activate them. So I thought the idea of undercover, being in a mirror, was really undercover.
Perfect place to hide.
This is called Well I Never. How's the novel coming? Friends would politely inquire, and year after year after year I would hear myself say, "Oh, it's coming, it's coming," but it wasn't coming, that is. Oh, I wrote and wrote, but tore up more than I wrote, so I was more than a little surprised when I encountered myself in a post office queue. Myself, it is true, but not myself, rather the I of my novel. I knew it was he because I had wrote him just so. Somehow he, this I, had escaped my words and now was enjoying the flesh and blood life, living it up in 3D. And where did that leave me? I could feel myself turning into print. He gave me the nod and the wink and told me to bet on Blind Horse in the Derby at 3:30. Well, I never. Who did he think I was? He carried a tatty paperback edition of The Death of the Order. But worse was to befall me as the events of my novel started to overtake me and chapter 3 loomed menacingly. It was only then that I realised I had entered my own words and that my demise was imminent. Oh, why had I written a thriller? I stammered. I wondered whether I had killed off my fictional I too soon, but now too soon, my own plot had happened to me. Well, I never won the Derby at 33-1. And this is called The Not Death of the Order. It was the day of my funeral, and already I was late. Come on, I told myself, eager not to miss my own wake. I still had an ounce or two of living yet, and the onus was on me to use it up. There was still that unfinished poem to finish, but I couldn't for the life of me bring it about so that I could be properly dead. Come on, I begged the words, but they weren't having any of it. I tinkered with a syllable or two, but the words were adamant, stayed dumb. They pointed out that they belonged to a living poem, and if they were to speak, so to speak, to fall into place at my behest, they would be acting posthumously. But they hadn't banked on the wiles of a dead man, didn't realise I'd been writing it all down, and their reluctance to obey me would do very nicely, thank you. They felt they had been betrayed, tricked, and they refused to attend my funeral. Alas, for me, I hadn't full stop the poem, and am now obliged to return in ghostly form to do so, but all to no avail, as putting a living full stop is an impossible thing for a ghost to do. I can still hear the words laughing. Thank you.